All right, so a lot of the people that contact us, a lot of people that watch our content and watch our stuff and follow what we're doing are super, super, super new to hunting. Some of these guys have never hunted ever. A lot of these guys have never hunted Mexico. We have a lot of guys that hunt, expert level, been doing it all their life. But for somebody who's, you know, literally just getting into hunting, maybe they've gone on a couple hunts when they were younger, what, but they're completely no idea what they're doing. What do you think is the biggest thing that they should focus on, like, to increase their success rate?
It's cool to do hunting, getting to hunting. They should do.
Yeah,
Man, I, honestly, I think one of the best things you can do as a brand new hunter, if you don't have somebody to take you out,
yeah,
which is hard to find somebody to want to take you out because we have our spots and it's paying the bucks to get someone in our spots
for sure.
give them our deer, right? We work hard for it. Um, is to go on some guided hunts.
Yeah,
And you will gain years worth of knowledge in 1 week. Go on some like a guided pig hunt, whatever. You'll learn how to gut the pig. You'll learn and have them be like, hey, can I gut it? Hey, can I? And have to, like, I've never met a guy that's like, no, you can't gut that pig and you can't butcher
yeah,
that pig. Like they'll teach you how to do it right there. Um, you'll learn how to play the wind. You'll learn how to uh, glass. You learn how to be quiet. You learn how to pack a pack. I know it sounds expensive sometimes to go on a guided hunt, but if you can find a way to muster up the whatever few $1,000 it is to do it, $3 grand, $5 grand, you're going to cut the learning curve by a ton. Those guides are in the field 100 days a year, which is like 5 years of hunting time
for most people.
for most people, right? And they're out there 100 days a year. You're gonna get all that knowledge crammed into a week. You're gonna learn a ton.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest mistakes people make is honestly like when you're new to the hunting industry, you look up, I mean, I know I have friends that they've literally looked up like how to hunt deer on YouTube, deer hunting tips. And like we're from Arizona and they watch somebody's video on like, hunting in Ohio or Oklahoma, or one of these eastern whitetail. And so that's why like every year this last season on the youth hunt, my little sister had a deer tag, and we'd see a bunch of people. They got a lawn chair and they're holding their rifle on a field edge. And it's like, dude, these mule deer out here, that's not how they work. So just sitting a field edge, it's not the same. So learning the different hunting styles in the area that you're making is important. So deer don't necessarily coordinate. I mean, even mountain mule deer versus desert mule deer, it's a completely different ball game. I mean, the Coues deer that we hunted in last November on his boys hunt, and like they don't they're in the mountains, completely different ball game, completely different way to hunt. And doing it down in Mexico on some of these desert ranches, everything's different. I mean, a lot of the stuff that you do, you throw it out the window and completely start over with your hunting styles. So
Yeah, I one thing too. I would say one of the best things I ever did for learning how to hunt big game. If we're talking big game, right? I think that
yeah,
everyone when we get into hunting, just go get a shotgun and just go start shooting some birds. Like that's gonna get you out in the field, get you successful.
it's so
Go shoot some rabbits like that. Like you need to get like small wins when you first get hunting. Like go get a shotgun and just go freaking shoot some rabbits, shoot some quail. You can do a 12 gauge phosphor 500 or 12 gauge 870 can do so much for you hunting, just getting you out in the field and learning stuff and learning foods and getting the miles in. That's successful. But the best thing I think I ever did learning big game hunt, because I learned at the adult onset kind of big game hunting in my 20s, was predator hunting. Predator hunting is a phenomenal way to learn a unit, for one. Like, I want to hunt this unit for deer. Well, you can only have a unit for deer for what, 5 days? It depends on where you are. 2 weeks? A month, maybe? But you can hunt for predators all year long. So get out there and start calling predators, blasting. And the more you're out, the more you're learning the roads, you're learning to stop, you're going to learn uh, the water. So you're going to find water sources all by getting out there and doing it. And just you just start painting that unit out. And you're hunting doing it too. It's not just hiking around. And then also, when you predator hunt, you learn what a good setup looks like for animals. You learn how to play with it, which is like the most critical part of hunting. You learn uh, how to set yourself up with a tree behind you, and you learn all this stuff. The more time you spend in the field, the more you're going to learn and add to this bank because it's always evolving. Like there's never a deer that does the same thing as the last deer. There's never an elk that does the same thing as the last elk. There's never a hunt that goes the same way. There's rain, there's weather. So you have to really just get out there and figure it out. And I think predator hunting is like a great way to do that.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at deer. I mean, there's 100-inch coos deer in every coos deer unit in Arizona. I promise you. There's not a unit. I mean, people will be like, oh, I've never seen deer over 80 inches. I've never seen a buck. I mean, dude, there's 100-inch coos deer in every single unit. You just got to find them. I mean, a lot of guys. I mean, they'll draw a tag. They'll go out the first weekend, and then they'll go back home. And like, you can't expect. I mean, people do it every year, but you can't expect to shoot a big deer by doing that. I mean, if you spend, I mean, if you spend 1,000 hours in a unit, you're gonna learn the unit. Even if you're just driving roads in the unit, you will learn that unit and learn more about the animals than somebody who's hunted that same unit for 100 years, but they've only done it, the opening weekend of the hunt.
Yeah, for sure. Another thing that I think is a really good tip for new hunters is to go and join like one of these groups. Like, so you got to like San Diego, we have the San Diego Predators group. Go join SD Predators.
Yeah.
They will give you so much knowledge. Go join NWTF chapter,
Yeah.
or a Mule Deer Foundation chapter, or a Backcountry Hunters and Anglers chapter. When you do that and you're putting the time in, people are going to give you spots. People are going to take you out. Like you put time into it. When you go onto a forum, you say, "New to hunting, where should I go?" You're not going to get nothing. And I know you don't understand that now as a new hunter, but once you're like 5 years into it and you figure out how hard it is to get these spots to find these deer, you don't want to give people your deer. It's hard, man, especially people who don't want to try. So if you actually get out there and you start working hard on your own and you join one of these groups, I guarantee there's a guy in the group's going to take you out and do it.
Well, you can get some of these guys in the group too that like you form a friendship. I mean, literally, for me and you, I DM'd you on Instagram talking about Tricer, and that was probably almost 2 years ago at this point, probably more than 2 years ago. But it's like it's ultimately the guys that you hunt with, those are the hunters that the kind of hunter that you're gonna turn into. If you start out hunting and all you do is you go drive roads, you go spotlight before the hunt, you learn where stuff is, and it's like, you're not going to learn how to truly, be able to track these animals down and be able to hunt them and be able to be extremely successful doing it. I mean, Drew makes me a better hunter. I mean, he looks at some of these mountains that I really don't want to walk up, and he's just, let's do it, let's go for it. And you get up there and you're able to find some deer and have a lot of success doing it. But I think who you hunt with is crucial as well, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. On that, that's another thing I was going to say is be the guy that puts the hunts together too. Like some of my best hunting partners have come from me just being like, "Hey man, there's a leftover tag in Arizona. Do you want to go cooch hunting with me?" And I ended up drawing a coocher tag with my buddy Daryl. He's one of my best hunting partners. And this guy has 40 years of knowledge. He's one of the biggest killers in San Diego. And we hunt together every single year now and have a really good relationship. But it started by me putting it together, right? Or I put together, hey, I want to go to Idaho on a flying hunt, and I DM'd this guy Kellen and Daryl and this guy Vic. We put this hunt together, and I put it together. And we went. Like, if you're willing to, like, hey man, I've got a truck, I have boots, and I have gas. I'll pay for the gas. Let's go.
Yeah.
Like, you can get a guy to go out with you. Like, hey, let's go hunting. And invite him out and do it. And get him out, take him out and do it.
Yeah. I know a lot of guys, like, we get a lot of people ask us, like, oh, can you, what would you do? Can you, help me out on this? And it's like, yeah, we can absolutely help people, but a lot of guys, they don't want to go hunting unless they're pulling the trigger.
Yeah.
And, I've learned more on hunts that I am not the one pulling the trigger
Yeah.
than hunts that I'm hunting. I mean, it's insane how much you can learn just by going to hunt with these people.
Yeah. That's a good point, man. Like, I know for me, I think I have 8 out of state hunts this year.
Yeah.
And I'm like scrambling to find guys to go with me to be there to glass. Like, going on your DIY, like by yourself, like, especially for elk, like, you want someone there. Like, I'm not a big, like, I don't want to go hunt an elk by myself and shoot at the bow and have some chasing out of like, it's nice to have someone there, especially when you're out for 2 weeks, I'll do it by myself if I have to, but someone being willing to be like, hey man, like, I'd love to go with you on one of your hunts just to glass with you and learn.
I'm not gonna tell them
I'm not gonna tell them no. Like this guy out of Zach, I took him on an elk hunt and taught him a bunch of stuff, and he's been on elk hunt since he hasn't been successful yet.
For
but like,
sure.
if he's willing to go with me, I would gladly take him along to learn.
For sure.
But the problem is people don't want to learn; they just want to pull the trigger, like you said. And it's like, you gotta be willing to learn, right? You gotta be willing to sit there. I know there's multiple people that know that if they draw a sheep tag, I'm going to go with them just to class for them and be there and help them do it, because I want to learn on that hunt. Like, I would gladly take a week off to go learn how to sheep hunt with somebody.
Absolutely.
Because when I draw that tag, I want to know how to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I can speak for both of us that, if we had a friend that was genuinely serious, and they come to you and they're like, hey, I know you got that deer hunt coming up. Like, dude, would you mind, like, if I came with you just to, dude, I'll pull my own weight. I'll bring my, whatever gear I might have. Maybe they got to borrow some of ours. But if somebody came and was like, dude, I want to come with you. I want to learn. Like, I'm not going to tell them no. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you'd be a lot, like, honestly, there are a lot better chances of them getting to some of my spots and some of your spots because you're going to hunt. So, you can learn a lot of good stuff. I mean, just by going on somebody else's hunt. I mean,
Another good thing you can do too, and I've been hunting a long time, and I'm successful now. I mean, I know for a fact I'm going to kill some deer this year. I'm going to kill an elk. I'm going to kill an antelope this year. Like, I'm going to kill animals. Like, I'm confident in that. But I'm still always learning, right? So I'm definitely listening to podcasts, definitely watching YouTube videos. But I'm also starting to do some of these classes. Like, I'm taking Mark Livesay's class. Mark Livesay has a class. I can't remember the name of it. It's like tree line. I can't remember the name. I think it's tree line something. You look at Mark Livesay. He did a whole class on e-scouting. It is a course. Yeah. I paid him the money for it. I'm taking this whole course, right? I'm also doing, Mountain Physio has a whole course on getting in shape. And I'm in the gym 4 or 5 days a week. But if I could better my ability to be out there, I'm taking Mountain Physio's course to do that, right? And they're going to, like, test me and, like, you do this much weight for 2 miles, this much weight, you need to build this many burpees, this much, like, I'm doing that. Yeah. That's what you can do as a new hunter. I'm also going to Ryan Lambert's Western Hunting Summit, archery something, because, like, I'm really just now getting super into archery hunting. I know the fundamentals of it. I know the fundamentals of finding animals. I got all that down, but I want to learn more. Like, I've never killed a bull with my bow, and I want to learn how to do that. And I'm paid Ryan, I think it's $1,600, $1,800, and I'm going to fly to Montana. I'm going to take a 4-day course in June, archery course. And it's just, there's going to be a bunch of guys there, like Jason Phelps and Mark Livesay and Brian Call, and, like, a bunch of guys there who spend 100 days a year each in the woods, who have killed a ton of animals. I can learn from. Even if I was one of them, they're still going to learn in that course. Like, those guys spend 100 days.
Yeah.
You always can learn. So find a way to like go take something. There's so much available out there. Cody Rich has elk hunt, elk 101, elk 102, elk 103, right? Go take Cody's course. Learn how to elk hunt doing that. You're gonna cut so much like headache out of your life by not just going out in the woods and wandering around by taking one of Cody's courses. And it's worth the. I mean, they're not that expensive. I mean, a few $100 to take one of these courses, you're gonna learn a ton. So take some courses too.
For sure. I think too, like a lot of hunters, they see somebody doing something different and they trash on it, you know. And so like it's like a lot of guys back east, you know, they sit tree stands, they you know, plant corn, they do all this stuff for the deer. And I know a lot of the guys out west will trash that. They're like, oh yeah, how hard is it to sit in a tree stand? How hard is it to sit in a blind? I'll tell you, we just sat 2.5 days. I mean, what are we, 35 hours in the blind? And I'll tell you, it was miserable these last couple of days. So, I mean, it's learning how to take like their hunting style and apply it to our hunting styles, like out in the West. I mean, not all of it translates, but learning how to apply some of those little traits. I mean, they're paying attention. I mean, I've seen videos where guys look at like, okay, you know, if there's you know, two trees and you know, you see a really wide step around the tree, that means that that buck has probably got big bones. I mean, you know, they micro analyze absolutely everything. And you know, I try to apply some of that stuff to like the stuff we do out here to pay more attention to the tracks. I mean, you know, we got guys that, you know, out here, they've been hunting a long time, and you know, they don't know like, well, what slope would you glass? Like, what would you prefer to glass? You know, a north facing slope or a west facing slope? And you know, I mean, there's stuff that if you just pay attention to, like, where's the deer at in this unit, what elevation are they at? You know, I mean, stuff like that, it can help. And translating different hunting styles, there's always something from that hunting style that you can take and apply to your own hunts. And you know, not all of it, but you know, just learn everything, keep an open mind. It's
Yeah,
crucial.
on that, I definitely like I have sat water a few times now. I've killed elk off water. Um, it's a tactic. I mean, there's you need to have a full quiver on a hunt. If you're just like, I only pound ridges in glass, well, there's certain times where you're not going to pound ridges in glass, or their elk are going to be in an elevation where they're not glassable, right? Or they're going to be, you know, you might have to sit you have to be diverse in your hunting tactics. And obviously, your bread and butter is going to work for you most of the time, but sometimes you got to be like, I'm going to go sit this pinch point right here. I'm going to sit there all day because I know he's going to come through there at some point.
For sure.
Right? And if you're closed-minded and you're in the way you're hunting, you're not going to get it done every time. Like there's times where things just change. I mean, sitting is good, glassing is good, still hunting could be good in a certain situation. You know what I mean? Like there's just every situation calls to be different. And I call it a quiver, right? A quiver of tactics. I like to have a full quiver of tactics, right? Even I would say road hunting could be good sometimes. Like I wouldn't totally knock it. Like there's times where it's like, I've been on hunts where I'm like, oh, it's so stubborn. I'm going to backpack in 4 miles into a canyon. It's been one particular, straight down into this canyon. And I was pigeonholed. And it's like, man, coming out of that canyon 3 days later, just destroyed coming out of this canyon. We were climbing out of it. I realized, man, I could have just hunted this ridge on the top and drove and got out and glassed down, found the elk back in there and got an elk versus on this 5-day hunt, I blew 3 days packing in because I'm too stubborn and I have to go deep. Like there's times and a place for road hunting, there's times and a place for ground blind sitting, there's times and a place for glassing. Like you need to be diverse in what you're doing.
Well, they kill some giant animals high racking.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, high racking is essentially like a bougie way to road hunt. You know, I mean, I don't know. We knew a guy I know this last season during the elk hunt, during the archery. You know, all the bulls were bugling, and that was the issue. They weren't bugling. Sun and come, and they were dead quiet. And so, you know, this guy, a buddy of ours, he left his 15s and glassing stuff, and he's only like 2 hours away, but still he left it home. So he's like, oh yeah, it's an archery hunt. they're bugling. I'm going to be able to call, and we're going to get in close. We're going to be able to seal a deal. But they weren't bugling. So like what you're saying, you got to have a full quiver. Like you got to be able to resort back to something else when Plan A doesn't work. And I think a lot of people are like, no, Plan A, and it fails. Well, Plan A again and again and again, and ultimately you're just beating a dead horse, and you need like, sometimes, um, glassing from one spot, and it's ridiculous how much different of a look you can get by moving in 20 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, us sitting in a blind, we're looking at different animals, and we're we have cows on the outside of these corrals, and we're looking at them like, oh, would you shoot that cow right now, like through that fence, through that shot? And even we're sitting this close to each other, and he has a shot and I don't, or vice versa. I mean, literally 2 feet makes all of the difference in the world. And sometimes people aren't willing to move that 2 feet, and I think you need to be able to move.
Yeah. It's really good. Get some reps. Get out there. Have some fun. Have some failures. Keep going.